everyone, I'm Allie. Join me in this Better Beader episode. By popular demand, the question that comes up a ton in our Facebook group for beading and jewelry making is how to store and organize your materials and your beads. Whether or not you're traveling, whether or not it's for your craft room, there's always tons of ideas that come through and flood on the chat of those. So what I thought I would do is do an updated version of some ideas for storage, some uses for different storage materials, and some tools to go along with it. So when it comes to storage, there's a lot of different options. Sometimes you'll get beads already in tubes and you can certainly keep those in there, or you might want something that's a little bit more consistent so that you can have your beads in the exact same size containers. One thing to think about is the size of the beads when using different containers, as well as what the function of those beads is going to be used for. If you're using something that you want to see the color, that's why you can see here all of the different containers that we stock are going to be clear. You can easily see without opening the container or having to get everything out what color the bead is inside the container. Likewise, you can label the containers if you want to, get a little label maker, or even sometimes take the labels off the tubes and put them on top of the storage units. There's a couple of different storage units that you may want to look for. If you're looking for travel storage, we have some of the nice little octagon ones here. You can open each individual area, close that down, and you can have all your materials ready to go for something like a leather wrap bracelet. This is great to take with you if you have a bead box maybe that you're using as storage as well. If you get the best bead box, this will fit nicely inside of there with a piece of beading mat, and you can make your own little travel beading tray. Another nice one for transit and travel is just going to be a nice little simple organizer. This is available in our basic stringing kit, and you can take out the little sections to make some bigger or smaller. Now, the one thing with these containers that I would be cautious of is if I'm using really small seed beads. These are great because they have individual containers and sections, but with these here, that can come up a little bit. You can have a little bit of space underneath, so that's where I'm going to look at things that have the closure or the screw tops to keep my tiny little beads in. This again is going to be great to put some head pins in, some ear wires, some little bead caps, and great to take along with you. Whereas if I'm going to be traveling and I know I want little tiny seed beads, you want to look at an organizer box that will give you the option to make sure that each little component is going to close tightly. So it's going to screw off. The nice thing with a lot of these stacking tubes is that you can take and change the components that you're putting on. So if you say, I want these blue and yellow beads here, and I want to mix them with some seed beads and take them along with me, you can start to make your own little stacking tubes, adding them together and stacking them one inside of the other. So if you wanted some seed beads, some crystals to mix and match for your travels, you can do that. The other nice thing, again, is with clear containers, you can easily see what your options are and what you're using and give you color ideas that you're working with. The other thing that I love about the clear option is you can see exactly how many you have. So if you know that you need a certain amount of gram weight for a project, or you're looking and you kind of take it out and look and see what you're looking for, that'll give you an idea whether or not you have many on hand. Once I take them out of their storage containers, it's nice to have some tools to help facilitate the making and the designing as well as the cleanup. So we have all of the different clear organizer boxes, which you can arrange in color, you can arrange by style. It's nice to keep like beads together. So we kind of have all crystals here. I have all seed beads in another. It's going to make it easier for you to get your project done and to make your color selection. If I have a container where I want to dump out my beads that I'm working with, you may even want a little triangle storage. So the triangle storage is great because when you have your beads that are in here and you have a container to put them back into, whether or not they are going to be a seed bead or a larger bead, it has that triangle to make it easy to pour. And these, because they are the triangle shape, you can line them on the back of, say, your bead on it board or your bead mat in order based on the pattern or the color that you need to work with. Likewise, to keep beads organized. If you have an intense pattern or an intense collection of colors, you may want to look at getting something to work on and to store your beads while you are actually making your project. So here we have a bead on a boards sorter, and this has A through G. So if you have a pattern that you're working on, you can take your needle and thread and you can pick up a couple here of G, or sorry, of F, and then add that to your project. Then likewise go through and add D to that as well. So you can keep track of your colors that are in your patterns and close this up so the cat doesn't get it and mix all your colors up, and it's ready to move to your bead mat for the next project. If you want a little bit more security, you can then take another piece of bead mat, put it on top, and that way you can transport with it as well. Always fun if you don't know where your needle is to grab a needle case. We have a couple different patterns that you can actually create your needle case cover. And all of these things, while they are super functional, are also really pretty to look at. So it's really eye appealing, and it's going to get your imagination stimulated as you look at all the different beautiful colors in your storage containers and your storage options. The other great thing is as your storage containers are getting low in supply. So if I have my crystal container here and I notice that I only have a couple of my 2mm bicones here, maybe I want to look at the option to add them together with the hyacinth color, and that can start to create a bracelet like an odds and ends bracelet or a mixed wrap bracelet or even a good karma bracelet where you mix all of the different designs. When it's time to clean up, if you do not have your little organizer trays or you have your triangle trays, you may also want to keep handy, I always love this, this is a bead scoop. So once you're done with your project, you have everything out on your bead mat, you can grab your bead scoop and get all of them in there, dump them back into your project without having to pick them all up individually. If you have a bunch of little beads and it's time to pick everything up, go ahead, even if you want to, and check out the bead vac as well, which is going to give you the option and the opportunity to vacuum up your beads. When you vacuum up your beads, then you can open up the actual container, and mine is pretty gross, but you can separate out and take out all the beads that you have used in the project, put them back into your storage container, that nice clear locking container, close it up, clean it out, and then be ready for the next color as well, rather than mixing them together. Sometimes I like to, as you saw, take that bead back, mix all the colors together, and then see what I can make with that mix at the end of the week from everything that came off of my bead boards and my bead mats. So these are some storage unit and storage options that you may want to use definitely while you're storing your beads long term or while you're trying to take them along with you to create projects on the go. There are so many storage options. I would encourage you always to reduce, reuse, and recycle what you have. So if it comes in a tube, if it comes in a bag, you can take the label off a bag. I always have tons of bags kind of sitting right here, ready to take the label off, and these are great to transport your projects as well. And then if you need some additional storage units and some package, think of things that are going to not just work as storage units, but also work to inspire you while you're getting out looking for your color palette and maybe deciding which beads to use in the design. It's super helpful to be able to see everything. I love this one. And then if you are going through and having that transport, always a locking lid or organizers that close or divided sections are really going to be great to help you on your way. So the storage options and the storage ideas really are something that get looked at and evaluated constantly. The question gets asked repeatedly in our Facebook group. Again, if you're not a member there, go ahead and join. That is Beading and Jewelry Making Facebook group, and we'd love to hear your feedback. Also, don't forget to give your best ideas and your tips and your techniques and your tricks for storing, organizing, and get inspired by that organizational materials in the comments below the video. As always, these Better Beader episodes are recorded to help make you a better beader, but also to get the community like yourself involved in commenting and giving back feedback to other beginners that may be looking to start their bead journey. As always, thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for our next inspirational video.